Hello and welcome back to Auto Nerd. Today we are going to rewind the clock. We're going to go back to one of the founding pillars of Auto Nerd, and that was electric vehicles. Now I've since kind of taken this thing and given it a backseat, and the reason for this is that we have a much more pressing need in our industry, which is customer experience, and it's really the area that I'm trying to steer this whole ship in to show people that there is a world of profit and volume that can be married together with the customer having incredibly high CSI and a great experience to go along with it. But let's get into electric vehicles because I feel like everybody just needs a bit of an update here. With electric vehicles, the headlines are just constant right now and they keep going. And honestly, I don't know when we're just going to come to some sort of an agreement that, well, wait, the next generation of automobiles is electric. Yeah, no kidding. If you wanna get to any of the cool spacey stuff that we all dream about, you gotta move in that direction. You can't simply just go ahead and say, "Oh, yeah, electric vehicles are terrible, and let's continue with our V6s and V8s," and just simply be happy with that. That's not gonna help us out here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump on into the fast-moving world of all the tech that is going into these new cars because there's a lot going on. Also, we're gonna dabble in the area of the waffler where you have the customer that's like, well, maybe not today, and showing how this thing can just make their life just hugely better. And as I mentioned before, almost everything that I try to do when it comes to bringing you all examples is to enable you to have additional positive transformational change in your life. Because without the right tools, all you're doing is trying, and eventually burnout comes along. So we're going to give that update on why EV matters, and then also, I created a tool to go along with today's session, of course, about working with customers and some of those disagreeing points that may come up and some of those myths that you may hear as well. And this tool allows us to more or less look at ourselves and say, okay, how did I handle that? Did I handle it in a way that allowed the customer to still see that I'm open and honest and I'm a decent person to work with? Or did I kind of handle it like a jerk? Now, the free tool is a self assessment. The pro level, you get that self assessment plus a few activities as well to really help you up your game. And then the elite tier is giving you the full manager packet to walk you through absolutely everything that this tool does and be able to teach it to your sales consultants. Because, in all honesty, when it comes down to it, if we have the ability, we might as well learn it ourselves as managers and then teach it and help out through the week of getting our team to be just simply be better. So let's dive in. Today, we're talking EV. Here's your update. Let's go. One of the things that comes up an awful lot when I go to dealerships and even when I'm doing some of my online classes, is I see a lot of sales consultants that will go over and feel completely cool about EVs, and they'll start talking to the customer, and then the customer will say something that will be mildly jarring because a lot of us in this business, we don't like being wrong. It took me a while to get over this whole, I need to be right, I need to prove myself. And that is not a good way to go about being a car sales consultant because all you're going to do is sell and you're never going to consult and partner. One of the things that I see is sales consultants that will take a fresh up and n- just start talking to them about EV. And the customer will say something like, well, I like it, but I don't have time to go ahead and charge. This is one of the myths that we're going to cover today. It's something that hits all of our nerves and makes us just kind of seize up because we know, at least many of us that have played with EVs long enough, is that there's charging places all over the place. There's a reason that EV is hugely successful in every country by the United States and Japan. And the primary reason is that we politicize it just like we do everything, and we decided to attach a negative connotation to it. Well, with EV, there's nothing really negative about it. So when you have customers that are like, well, these charging speeds, I'm going to walk you through today how to work with these individuals because the mindset of charging is very different from the mindset of filling up. And that's why this episode matters to every single person that's listening to it because the amount of doubt that is out there with EVs, the vast majority of it is mm, completely false. And it's up to us to confidently tell the customer in some sort of way that gets the point across that, hey, it's not quite that bad. And I'm going to be here to help you out along the way. So stick with me and let me show you some awesome tools because the EV market is expanding. Not rapidly, it's not exploding. But what if I told you that actually 10% of new cars sold in the United States are electric? That's way more than we're given to believe on a daily basis when we continually read that one manufacturer is no longer manufacturing EVs, or one manufacturer is bringing back V8s, or another manufacturer is pulling back our EVs because we feel that gas is really where it's at. There was a car the other day that just read about, and I wish I could remember the name of it. It's a Chinese manufacturer that built a vehicle. It was something 3000. The vehicle has nearly 3000 horsepower and just broke a speed record of, I think, up to 308 miles an hour. We're talking about a car, four rubber tires. This thing just decimated the Bugatti. With this, we have to remember that EVs, they are the next page. As we look at people when they come in the door, they solve so many solutions to what the average buyer is looking for. Now, in the industry, you may have been seeing some new things happening even at your own brand. For example, the Tesla charger has been adapted to everything. Now, my opinion on this is that it didn't need to happen, right? We had the CCS ports on there and they were just fine, but apparently we need to have a special plug that accommodates only one charging network. And now, charging manufacturers, station manufacturers are starting to adapt. You have companies out there that you take 7-Eleven and Pilot now, Flying J gas stations are now installing these charging stations at their facilities. You now have charging manufacturers of stations slowly starting to migrate on over to the North American charging standard. Now, with the North American charging standard, just educate yourself on the adapters that you have at your store. Almost every single manufacturer right now that is switching over to the Tesla charging system, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, it's the Tesla charging system. The North American charging standard, it was kind of there. But now that we have the Tesla plug basically coming on everything, you got to understand that there's a lot of adapters to maybe even hook into your customer's current home charging system. But with these huge network expansions and even gas stations and utilities now getting on board, we're now seeing charging stations pop up all over the place. And the expansion isn't just a like little, well, maybe this is the way it's going. So let's take a couple gas pumps and make them electric. It's not even like that. We're seeing these massive gigachargers starting to pop up for things like semis. So they can pull on in there, charge up very quickly instead of using multiple cables, maybe just one. We're also starting to see automobile manufacturers now take a lot of their funds and drop them into conglomerates where many different manufacturers will come together and start to build out a network all across the country. Now, with these conglomerates, they're also paying very close attention to what their customers need. So think about one of those new like Tesla cafes. If you haven't seen that, just Google it. It's actually kind of interesting, but I do still have a strong belief that the popcorn vendor should actually be human. But with these charging expansions, you're going to see a lot of that happen where they're going to be more like Sonics, where you'll roll up on in there and you may not be able to order food, but you'll roll on in, plug your vehicle in, and there'll be a rest stop. Now, many of the automotive manufacturers are actually looking at putting in like cafes and elegant places for people to stop and charge. But that's not really the point now, is it? Because as battery tech improves, you shouldn't have to stop as much. And with people that have been driving EVs for a while, we'll find that they will pretty much never charge in the wild. And the reason is that they get over the amount of allotted range that they need in one day. And if that's the case, then you just take your vehicle, you drive it home, you plug it in at night. Super simple stuff. Or where you're shopping, you just use their level 2 charger and top up a little bit. But there are thousands and thousands of people in the country right now that are basically driving around for darn near free. They've mapped out where all the free level 2 charging is. That's where they shop. They never really drive very far. And when they go to the grocery store, they walk in for about an hour and pick up like 30 miles of juice. That's pretty cool. And as people start to latch onto this, the market adoption is going to skyrocket. Now, just like most things, think about hybrid. Now, I know I'm dating myself a little bit, but when I started selling, hybrids just didn't exist. And when they came on board, I remember in my last few years selling, all of a sudden, oh, hey, here's a hybrid. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what's the point? Eventually, I figured it out after I studied the vehicles. But everybody else out there kind of looked at it of, why would I want that? Well, because it actually has some magical benefits like your car's faster and better fuel efficiency. People are starting to realize that they don't want a slow car. For example, for myself, I'm not going to go out and buy a muscle car. The reason is they're slow. In my opinion, they're loud and I just don't need it anymore. And also, the expense to run them is incredibly unreasonable. I'm sorry, you can't complain about your monthly payment if you're unwilling to take a look at your savings on an EV. Realistically, if you're looking at an SUV, but the manufacturer offers a very similar one in EV, if you're going to sit there and complain about your monthly payment, again, you have no reason at all. It's not the savings that's the issue. It's the relationship that you have with the person that's sitting in front of you that is. But either way, 1 in 10 people are starting to buy these things. As this forecast starts to adjust itself in the future, we're going to see the adoption, just like hybrid, start to take off where people look at it and they go, hey, you know what? Maybe I just don't need that big old engine in my car anymore because this thing makes as much power. And wait, I'm going to get like 50 miles to the gallon. Yeah, you can, but apparently you need it spelled out in a way that says, hey, here's how much gas that you're going to use. And you need to see a number on the window, which is your donation to big oil. So with EV, you're just simply not going to see that. If you are smart by using these things, you can really get through a lot of those myths about how they don't have enough range, how the resale value is going to be absolutely terrible, how charging anxiety is always going to be this thing that you're going to have to deal with. And the cost is a little high right now, but that's just tech. Cars have migrated from being internally combustion engine vehicles that have been set in stone for many years with very little change to now moving into the tech industry. When you take a look at what's going on in the industry, you notice all of a sudden that a lot of the names that you're used to seeing on your home electronics are popping up as automobile manufacturers. As in, they're in the background. For example, Samsung, LG Chem, Sony over at Honda. You're starting to see a lot of this. And this is because the younger generation can adapt much better to things like future video game controllers. Yes, that is something that many manufacturers are looking at for future vehicles as the emergency service when auto driving systems tend to fail. You're also going to see how these manufacturers bring their technology, like PlayStation's graphics, into the interior. How Microsoft expands its suite and its radio and starts to integrate better into dashboards. How you have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and that is now stitching itself on into pretty much everything that an automobile can do. But the one thing I really want you to take away from this whole Intel dump here is that the industry has moved and it is swayed, and you can see it in all the stats. You can see it in one really big area. As I mentioned before, 10% of US sales right now are EV. And I know if you're listening over in any of the other countries that I see pop up as listeners, you're kind of giggling right now because you're looking down the street going, oh, yeah, all those cars are all backed up and plugged into people's homes. And if their power goes out, their home comes back on. And it's just one of those things that EVs do. But that's the big stat here. And within the next few years, we're looking at a 10% jump in sales. What this means is that if the adoption rate moves up to 20%, that means that nearly every second customer that you talk to has it in the back of their head that maybe EV will be that vehicle for them. They just haven't gone ahead and said it yet. Now, if you got a bunch of EVs kicking around and you're thinking to yourself as a sales consultant or a manager, well, what are we going to do with all these things? Nobody wants to buy them. Keep in mind, it's a mindset thing. It's a you thing. It's not a everybody else in the area thing. I hate hearing that because it's just a lame excuse for you not selling cars. And I don't care what you feel about EVs, it's still a car. It's got four wheels. This is why I tell people never fall in love with your product, right? Of course, love the vehicles, have respect for them, but love them like they're foster pets, like you're happy somebody's buying them. You tear up when they're going away, kind of thing. But with these things, respect the EV, learn about them. They will be challenging at first, but when you finally figure these things out, they are absolutely amazing in the way that they can transform your life. Now, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, do me a favor. Go over there, click subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe over on YouTube. I make this content all the time, every single week, with a companion tool to go along with it, just so you can up your game. So this week, the companion tool is meant to help you out in an area of doubt. See, when we go and look at EVs, there is a lot of doubt that may come along with it if you're not really jiving with it. And that's completely okay. Remember, I am not saying this stuff to sway you to be an EV person or make you feel bad. Could I do that? Oh, sure, all day long. But you wouldn't get anything out of it. And neither would the customer if we came across in that way either. So if you're an EV fanboy, fangirl out there, just tone it back a little bit and make it so the customer can feel comfortable in front of you before you go full on auto nerd on them. But many consultants carry their own doubts about EVs, and customers, quite honestly, they can smell it from a mile away. And the problem comes in is that when we start talking about EVs, we get a little preachy. And that's okay, believing your product, of course, but preaching about one lifestyle to another, because that's what most people look at it as. They look at it as a lifestyle change. And it's really not. You're just deciding that, hey, I don't want to go to the gas station and pay stupid amounts of money to fill my vehicle up anymore. So you make that change. And with us, our job is to listen. Again, not preach. Our job is to reframe. Our job is to show fitment in those benefits and then tie them back to the customer. So the customer can see, oh, yeah, this is exactly what I want. But most of us blow the deal simply because we get a doubt from the customer and then we crater. And some of you might be thinking to yourself, oh, no, I don't. Think about it. Did you move to something else when they had doubts? Or did you prove it to them through maybe a good bit of logic? So this week's tool walks you through some strong scripts. We also talk about some bad scripts in there too, and some stuff that we tend to come up with every so often that really just doesn't help us out at all. And even the rubric on this one is going to help you be able to score yourself after you've worked with a customer. Just sit down, fill out one of these things. And it's not going to be hard. You just need to be honest with yourself. And the EV confidence kit's there to show you pretty glaringly, hey, here's where one of my shortcomings is. Yeah, I was a little short with that customer on that there. I could have changed that. I could have dealt with it a little bit differently. And for managers, we got something for you as well. We got a full meeting guide in here. The full meeting guide is there to allow us to put the consultants in uncomfortable situations a little bit. Don't have too much fun with this one, but it gets them to start to work with these negative items that the customers may come up with and how to counter them. And I put those counters into the tool so you can work with your sales consultants and let them know, hey, when somebody says this, try this, use this, give this tool, apply this little bit of logic here. And with a little luck, you'll be able to transition out of a negative situation and into something that feels much more positive. And here's your breakdown. So with the 3 tiers this week, in the free tier, which is you just go to the webpage, you sign up for the newsletter, and I send you these every single week. You'll get it on Thursday. You'll also get it on Monday too, because on Monday, I usually send out just a tool-only email. And sometimes it comes out on Tuesday. This week, it's going to be a Tuesday one. Now, this is full of quick tips and also strong scripts and also a couple poor ones there as well, and a little bit of a rubric to give you an idea of how you're doing. Now, in the pro tier, we give you a much stronger rubric. We also give you those role play scenarios so you can grab another consultant on the showroom floor and go, hey, sit down. We're going to go through this. Because on the showroom floor, we are a family. Whether you like it or not, you can look at each other as though you're competitors, or you can very easily look at each other as, hey, we are a family. We work together. We need to improve together, and we can create careers that marry alongside of each other and really help each other out a lot. And so with that pro tier, that's really what that's made for, is for you can work together with another consultant. Now there is the elite tier there, and the elite tier, this brings in gamification for the management. And also, if you're a manager, this also gives you the ability to be the teacher on those morning meetings, because many of us don't have that ability to really understand what goes into teaching. We just get up there and we're like, all right, I'm going to give it a good college try, say a bunch of stuff, and it falls on ears that are just like, this freaking guy. So, this is a way of you getting the exact words. Again, I put in exactly what you need to say to get that meeting fired off. And I put it all on one page. So you don't really even need to try. You can open the thing up and go, here's exactly what I need to do. Or if you're standing in front of it, the whole meeting and you haven't even talked to anybody yet, just hold it up in front of yourself and read the first line. That's going to get you started. You'll realize that you probably should have made a couple photocopies of that thing to pass out, but you'll also realize that you can teach the whole thing front to back and get through some of those objections and help build that better relationship. We're not giving you a complete script on how to say things. Even when I type some of the stuff up, I'm like, yeah, that's what I would say, but I would really hope that you wouldn't take on exactly the words that I'm saying. So practice this. I threw in some real world objections to really make you think about, hey, how can I go about this in some sort of empathetic manner that allows the customer to know, hey, I'm on your side and I understand that objection is actually something serious, that it may not even be an objection. It just might be a worry of yours. So it's time for us to show up. It's time for us to adapt and it's time for us to practice some of these things. So in the manager tier, we went full gamification this time around. The directions are quite literally as simple as you going ahead and printing out the last page, standing up in front of the room and just saying the words that are on it. I made it super easy. Reason being is, as managers, we want to help our staff out. We want to do absolutely everything that we can to make their lives better because in the end, it makes our lives better too. Now, in order to pull this off, we have to recognize one big thing. As managers, we ain't teachers, and it's not something we went to school for. So take some time, download that thing. That's on the beta. So you'll find a link in the show notes that will get you on over to that. So scroll on down, click on the subscribe button, then hit the beta, subscribe to that, or go ahead and get the free version. For the next few weeks, I'm going to put the pro and the free in the free area. So if you want the more premium content, it's going to be free right now until I have all that content built up. And it's not going to take me much longer here. And then all of a sudden, we're going to light the world on fire with improving and becoming better at customer experience. Just remember, confidence is what makes the sale here. So the more we can amp up our staff, the better that we're going to be. The more the effort that we can put into ourselves, the better that we're going to be. And really, confidence comes straight out of knowledge. It comes straight out of practice. And if role play is what we have to do to pull it off, fine. I know that dealerships are not crazy busy every single minute of every single day. So print that thing out. Go ahead, give it a crack. Now, with this confidence being the thing that sells, you don't need to know every single fact about these. Yes, I could rattle off facts about nearly every single EV that is in existence and tell you which ones that I love the most. And it wouldn't be fair to you because I would just be rattling off a bunch of statistics. That's how the customer feels, is that the customer sits down in front of us, they're looking at something that they don't really entirely understand, but the world has told them that, at least in the United States, that they should be against it for one reason or another. And now we have to deal with these objections. And gosh forbid if they throw a third wheel in there and the third wheel's, well, what I've heard. Well, if that's the case, listen to my last podcast, last week's episode 57, and grab that tool about the third wheel. And hopefully that'll help you when you mix these two together to really have more of a powerhouse of trust creation. When you get that third wheel in with you, understanding that, hey, these are cool, that helps comfort the customer that may be at a high level of anxiety. Now, this high level of anxiety, when you are working with people, especially when you have high confidence sales consultant, low confidence customer, doesn't really come off well right off the bat. So know where you are, know where the customer is, and read the room. And when you have to, back up a little bit. If you got to tone down your excitement for the vehicle that the customer is coming in to take a look at, tone it back a minute. Wait till you can get the customer feeling more positive. And once they're on the same page as you and they're starting to light up a bit, amp up the energy. But don't come off too strong on this stuff. Because again, with EV, we got a lot of people that are just like, well, I'm going to trade in my pickup truck for this Econo box. And it's just like, dude, you're going to have more fun and I'm going to show you the world. You just need to be open to it, which means that as consultants, we need to be open to allowing the customer to vent a little bit. Remember, they're venting about the car. They're venting about society. They're not venting about you. There's no reason to create an argument here. And when they trust you, they trust the EV. And when they trust the EV and they like the EV a lot and that need has been cemented in, all of the sudden they trust the deal. And when they trust the deal, that means that you make a great commission. This is what closing is. Closing is about getting somebody to that position where they just can no longer say no. It's, yes, I need to have this vehicle in my life. And EV has so much great content that you can just layer right on there and keep giving the customer exactly what they want. You want security? You got it. You want safety? You got it. You want next generation technologies? You got it. You want to fill up your bank account? How many miles do you drive a day? 200 a day. You know what? We're going to go ahead and fill that bank account right back up. So on your end, you got a lot of meat to work with here when you have a customer sitting there that's objecting to one thing or another. So again, get that tool, subscribe to the channel, and practice, 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 and get out there and get that bigger commission just simply because you treated them better. Remember, these people, when they come in, they're trying to accomplish a dream of theirs of owning a vehicle and an EV in this particular example. And there are so many consultants out there right now that are willing to sit down with the customer and move them to a gas car because it is easier for them to sell. What makes it more difficult? The fact that you just can't plug the vehicle in, or the fact that you have to walk the customer through a couple of little extra things at the end? Seriously, don't hold the customer back. Don't hold your deal back. Don't hold the smiles back because smiles are directly related to the commission. If the customer is not having a great time, they're going to battle in the end. If they're having a good time or a great time or an epic time, nothing is going to stop them from getting that car, not even the surprise of an expensive payment. So take that time, download that kit. It's right on the webpage, autonerd.com. Don't forget the K in there. And also, it's down in the show notes. Made it super easy. If you're a consultant, the pro level is going to be perfect for you. If you're a manager, sign up for that beta and get that elite level one so you can have the notes of exactly how to train your sales consultants on these things. I've been training for a very long time. And one of the things that I noticed is that we have to have a cadence. We have to have good activities. We have to have the ability to inspire. And so I'm trying to pack all of that on in there. Now, if you don't feel like signing up for the beta, just shoot me an email, andrew@autonerd.com, and I will be happy to send over the whole elite packet to you. Just let me know who you are, and you'll get it every single week for the next, I think, 6 weeks right now. If you didn't get last week's was all about the third wheel and the difficulties that come along with that. And I've had some great feedback on that one. So if you haven't listened to it yet, take a look at that. But it doesn't matter if it's an EV, it doesn't matter if it's a big diesel pickup truck, it doesn't matter what it is. They're buying because of their confidence in you. And if you can inspire them, if you can raise them up to the next level, if you can make them feel that this vehicle fits into their life perfectly, they got it. And EV buyers right now, they are not necessarily looking for the car, they're looking for the individual. And that's tough because a lot of sales consultants really don't care about these customers. But then the ones that do, all of a sudden the game changes for them in some pretty miraculous and amazing ways. So give that confidence kit a try. Download it. It's in the show notes. Just simple link. You click it. If you aren't subscribed to the newsletter, just subscribe to the newsletter, and then that button appears and you can download it. Also, when it comes to your team, if you are a manager, you feel free. You can shoot me an email at andrew@autonerd.com. That's AUTOKNERD.com. And I will gladly send you the Elite Toolkit with the Pro and the free as well that you can print off and give to your whole sales team and really try to see how you can help them out. I'm quite literally giving you free training here. So help build a smarter team and make that happen. This is AutoNerd helping you sell cars, helping you make more money in a way that helps build customer trust, and also helping you build better teams that have the ability to boost the whole store's satisfaction ratings. Everybody, I'll see you a little bit later. Auto Nerd out.